Hello everybody, and welcome to another Theros Beyond Death draft here on the channel. Before I dive in, I do want to remind you that if you enjoy the video, remember to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos, and leave a comment in the comment section down below if you have any questions or feedback. If you would like to catch me streaming live, you can find me on twitch.tv/NicolaiBolas, and if you would like to join our Discord server, it's free for everybody, and there'll be a link to that in the description. You can talk about magic all the time. But yeah, we're going to be starting things off with Ashiok Nightmare Muse. This is one of the best rares in the set. If you play this on an even board, you basically can't lose. It's relatively easy to splash off of something like a Traveler's Amulet, for example, and just carries the game. After that, I think the pick would pretty much be Shimmerwing Chimera. This is one of the top uncommons in the set, works very well with things like Omen of the Sea. These are just really segueing together nicely, which I think would be the pick out of this pack if all of the other cards that I mentioned were not here. Omen of the Sea is quite powerful for the blue decks and really does everything you want to do. It gives you that card draw, also scries away extra lands in the late game. But here, I think it's a pretty clear Ashiok, then Shimmerwing, then Omen of the Sea in this pack. Oh, that laugh is
Welcome to my domain, Planeswalker.
Okay, Ashiok, that was a lot of voice text and kind of scary, not gonna lie. Okay, moving on to pick 2. Commanding Presence is a pretty powerful card, but it's not a card that goes with Ashiok at all, so I'm not really wanting to commit to that now. Ashiok, it's not really the type of card that goes in a deck where you're splashing. It's much better in a green-white auras deck or a red-white aggressive deck. It's okay in the black-white decks, but the decks that play Commanding Presence generally don't want to splash, so I'm not going to take that here. Mystic Repeal is a pretty powerful removal effect. It's like a 1-mana kill spell in a lot of situations, but it's still kind of got diminishing returns to this type of effect, so I'm not sure I want to take it this early. That being said, the commons are kind of underwhelming. Deny the Divine is pretty good. Soul Reaper of Mogus is pretty solid, but I'm not going to take it this early because you don't want that many copies of it. Omen of the Sun has been very impressive for me. Sea God Scorn is actually pretty good as well, especially if you can pick up some omens, because you can bounce your own omens, which I like a lot. Given that I started with an Ashiok and I think I want to continue building around it, I'm going to take Sea God Scorn. I think I'm higher on this card than most people. I think a lot of people would just take Commanding Presence or maybe Deny or Mystic Repeal, but I've been pretty impressed with Sea God Scorn, so I'm going to take it and probably try to show you guys how to build around it. Okie doke, following things up. There's a very powerful Acolyte of Affliction. It can get back Ashiok in a pinch. We could also just take Omen of the Sea. Keeps us heavy blue. Works really well with Sea God Scorn. Helps us dig for Ashiok as well. I think splashing an Acolyte of Affliction is a bit rough. So I think I'm just going to take the Omen here. Threnody Singer is okay as well. Loathsome Chimera is quite good. I think Acolyte's good for being able to get back Nightmares, Ashiok, and you can also bounce that with Sea God Scorn, so it's another pretty powerful one. Here's hoping when pick 1 Ashiok works out. Oh, it will work out. MX Lupine, it will work out. So here I think it's pretty clearly between these two cards. I think Acolyte is higher upside, so it could just be worth taking here, but it would be a splash if I wanted to play it in the same deck as a Sea God Scorn. And committing to a splash this early is a bit rough, so I think I'm just going to take Omen of the Sea. And now, following things up, we can take a Final Death. Fits perfectly into this blue-black plan we have going, and there's really nothing to convince me otherwise. After that, I would probably dip into a splash for a Dreadful Apathy and maybe play like a blue-white deck that splashes at Ashiok. Blue-white can be a pretty nice control deck and get a Traveler's Amulet, splash the Ashiok, and also use Sea God Scorn to bounce its own Omens of the Sea and Omen of the Sun. Those are both pretty good cards to bounce, but this is a very easy Final Death. I love Final Death in this format. And now we can pick up, wow, very late Entrancing Lyre. I have been told that Entrancing Lyre is one of the most underrated cards by the bots. This card, just because you see it late on Arena, doesn't mean you should expect to see it late in real life. This card is actually quite powerful. It's a little bit clunky in multiples, but basically, early in the game, it takes care of their best creature, and then later on in the game, you can change targets and take care of another one of their creatures. Keep in mind, though, it is pretty expensive to use. I think after that, it's a very clear Agonizing Remorse. I have been pretty impressed by this card, but it is relatively low impact, so not a huge priority. After that, Eidolon probably, but not really excited to pick that up. And now, I'd probably just take a Rage Scarred Berserker to have an extra big creature. None of these other cards are worth splashing. We don't need a Thaumaturgist Familiar because a lot of our blue cards will already have flying. Pretty late Omen of the Forge. Don't really want an Unknown Shores here, so I'm just going to get the pretty solid 5-drop. And now we get a pretty classic example of why I'm not a huge fan of taking multiple entrancing lyres, because it does get pretty expensive to use multiples. Like if you have 2 of these in your hand, you're committing to spend like 14 mana or so on them. It's just really rough. Part of the strength is that you can adapt the lyre you already have. Here it's between Mogus's Favor and Hateful Eidolon. Hateful Eidolon does work pretty well with Mogus's Favor. It also works well with Mire's Grasp if you can get some of those. I think Hateful Eidolon is definitely a potential pickup here. It's really close, actually. I really would like to get a Hateful Eidolon to go with the Favor, but I think getting a Mogus's Favor is too important. Gosh. So the only way that Hateful Eidolon gets super good is if I have a couple Mire's Grasp. I'm just going to take the Mogus's Favor here. It's really important to get the first copy. Devourer of the Memory is not an insane card, but it's definitely better than Nyxborn Marauder. Can apply some pressure and be a win condition for these decks, and so I think it's the pick here over pretty much nothing else, so not really a tricky pick there. Scavenging Harpy's okay. Not insane, but definitely a playable. And now we got back Soul Reaper of Mogus. This draft is going quite well. Another Rage-Scarred Berserker. We'll pick up Final Flare. We're not going to be playing Underworld Ragehound here. Probably not playing Eidolon. Okay, moving on to pick pack 2. Okay, so we opened Gravebreaker Lamia. What do we have to go get? We can go put Mogus's Favor in the graveyard. And that's pretty much it. I think this card is quite good. It's very close with Drag the Underworld on which one's better to take here, I think. I will say that part of the upside of Gravebreaker Lamia is if I get a Farrakha's Spawn later, which is the 3 in a black. Really powerful black uncommon. This card gets much better. Drag to the Underworld is just going to be consistently good. And then in the common slot, there's a Blight Breath Catoblipas. I think this is actually a really close pick. I wouldn't fault someone for going either way, but given that I still have a full 2 packs to go, I think I'm going to be able to pick up some more synergies with Gravebreaker Lamia, so I think I'm just going to take it. It's also a great stabilization tool. And immediately rewarded. That was just about the best possible card we could get past. It works so well with Gravebreaker Lamia, and this was like the best possible payoff for us. Now we can get a Farrakha Spawn with our Gravebreaker Lamia, put it directly into the yard, which is where it wants to be anyway, and then bring it back for only 5 mana, which is super good. We can now cut a Rage-Scarred Berserker. We can also get a Mogus's Favor if we really need that effect. Definitely just jamming the Farrakha Spawn over Blight Breath Catoblipas. And now there's another Omen of the Sea. I think this is probably going to be the pick. I like it much better than Inevitable End. It just keeps you churning through your deck. Works well with the Sea God Scorn. And, yeah, I really like this. And also helps me find my Ashiok. Inevitable End is a bit slow and clunky. Even though it is removal, I do have a little bit of removal already with the Final Death and the Mogus's Favor and a Farrakha Spawn. So I'm hoping to get a little bit more at some point. But I think we're just going to take Omen of the Sea for now. Really good card. And now we can take a Blight Breath Catoblipas over Inevitable End. I think Catoblipas is just better. If you can recur this card with some recursion spells like Omen of the Dead as a removal spell, and it can also sometimes take down bigger things, whereas Inevitable End doesn't really have that optionality. Lampad is actually a pretty solid card as well, because I do need 2-drops that are creatures, but definitely just taking Catoblipas here. And now an Illyrios Enraptured, very good defensive tool for my deck. Also works well with Sea God Scorn. The Sea God Scorn pick, as you can see, is just getting better and better as I build my deck a little bit around it. But I don't even need that much work. Illyrios is just a great card. And now Omen of the Dead versus Ichthyomorphosis. I actually have pretty good tools. I don't have any recursion yet. I guess I have a couple of escape creatures to use my graveyard. I mean, 1 escape creature and 1 Mogus's Favor. So I think I'm going to take the Ichthyomorphosis just for some more interaction here. You can tend to get Omen of the Deads a little bit later. And now a Starlit Mantle can protect my important cards. I think it's better than a Naiad. This is essentially a counterspell against removal, which is pretty powerful. And sometimes just a combat trick. And now we get an Altar. Sometimes a card you'll want access to if you want to splash. And now Witness of Tomorrow is a pretty good win condition. In the air, Vexing Goal is pretty solid as well. Definitely happy to get one of those. We did get a Naiad. I don't think we wanted to drop Temple Thief, it's just too low power. But Naiad can sometimes be okay in these decks. Okie doke. Wow. Huh. How deep can we go? Dream Trawler, eh? So we already have one Altar of the Pantheon. And what else would we even take in this pack? I mean, there's not a blue or black card that I even want. This is the only blue card. I mean, I'm not really counting this. Scavenging Harper, we already have one, and we're not even sure we want that one. So this is just a pretty easy pickup of Dream Trawler, and then we can try to maybe splash it off of some Altar of the Pantheons or Traveler's Amulets if we get a little bit lucky. Okay, so we have our Dream Trawler now. And following that up, we're just going to take Mire's Grasp. It's a great removal spell. I think taking the Mogus's Favor over the Hateful Eidolon is actually a deceptively key pick in this draft, because this not only gives us a way to use the graveyard, but gives us some nice repeatable removal for those small creatures. But here it's pretty easy Mire's Grasp over Thirst for Meaning. Minimize Prophecy has just not been impressive to me. And now... Okay, so... we're not taking any of these green cards. Mire Triton is just a great card. Altar would maybe get us closer to splashing Dream Trawler, but I don't think we need Dream Trawler to win, and it really does make our mana terrible to play it. We would have to play like 2 planes and a Traveler's Amulet and an Altar, and we don't have the Amulet yet, so we're not going to take the Altar here. We're just going to jam Mire Triton. I do like Mogus's Favor, but Mire Triton is a great card for this type of deck. And a second Farrakis spawn is fantastic. Definitely just going to jam that in over a Traveler's Amulet. And my deck is looking very good here. I don't need Starlit Mantle right now because I don't have anything too important to protect. Don't really need Naiad, but I can just make more cuts as the draft comes to a close. But I'm really liking the way this deck is shaping up. It's looking quite powerful, and Farrakis Spawn is a great addition. And now there's another Mogus's Favor. There's a Shoal Kraken for if I want some enchantment synergies. There's also just an Omen of the Dead. I think one Mogus's Favor is the sweet spot. I also have a Gravebreaker Lamia to go get it if I really need it. So I don't think I want a second Mogus's Favor over the first Omen of the Dead, which is going to be pretty powerful in my deck. At this point now, I can also... it's a great combo with Gravebreaker Lamia because I can Gravebreaker Lamia, put Blight Breath into my graveyard, then my Omen of the Dead it back, and then kill a 3 toughness creature, so just some extra removal there. I don't love Glimpse of Freedom, especially since I have so many ways to use my graveyard, but I think it's the correct pick here over pretty much nothing else. There's a Temple Thief, I guess, but I don't need 2 drops. I have 2 Omens of the Sea, a Mire Triton, a Devourer of Memory. I don't really, and a Mire's Grasp. I don't need all that many 2 drops, and Temple Thief is certainly not on my list of cards I need to play. There's an Unknown Shores, which taking it over a Temple Thief looks pretty good, but taking it over Stern Dismissal looks a bit rough, because Stern Dismissal can definitely do good work in the right spot. I think I'm supposed to take the interactive spell. I don't think I can afford to slot the Dream Trawler in. I have splashed Dream Trawler, but that's usually in blue-green decks. Here I would have to play Unknown Shores, Altar of the Pantheon. I guess my mana is pretty simple here. I would play Unknown Shores, Altar of the Pantheon, hopefully wheel a second Altar, and then a Traveler's Amulet. It just makes my mana so bad. It's so tricky to justify. I think we're just going to take Stern Dismissal. And now Memory Drain is actually an okay card to play. Wings. I think we'll just take Temple Thief. And now another Memory Drain. We might main deck 1 copy of that. Okay, so we already have an Ashiok as a poster child card for this deck. I don't think we need Rage Scarred Berserker. We already have 3 great 5-drops and a lot of expensive things to do with our mana. 2 Farrakis Spawn is great. Really makes the Gravebreaker Lamia a lot better. Don't need Scavenging Harpy. Ichthyomorphosis does get a little bit worse with Farrakis Spawn because they'll have something to sacrifice, but Ichthyomorphosis is also a great combo with Mogus's Favor. I think we just can cut the Temple Thief. 1 Stern Dismissal's okay. I could see, how many creatures do we have? I think we want to cut 1 copy. Yeah, we want to cut 1 copy of the Counterspell. for maybe a 2-drop or maybe just a Naiad of Hidden Coves. We don't need Starlit Mantle. How many instants do we have? So we have the 2 Omens that get cheaper, a Vexing Goal that gets cheaper, a Final Death that gets cheaper. Naiad's also just a solid 3-drop in terms of body size. Can help stall the board out a little bit. I don't think we want Rage Scarred. I don't think we want Scavenging Harpy. Yeah, this deck is looking pretty solid. Yeah, that's going to do it for the build, and I'll see you in the matches. Before I get to the matches, I want to give a big shout out to all of my patrons over at patreon.com/NicolaiBolas. Thank you so much for your support, and special thanks to my patrons that support at the credits level, Eric S., Stephen W., Brent, and Mr. Martinez. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. And if you would like to learn more about the Patreon, you can find that information at patreon.com/NicolaiBolas. Without further ado, let's get to the matches. Welcome to round 1. We actually have a very cool little tempo hand here, 2-drop into 3-drop, both with kind of evasion. And Amogus' Favor. For some interaction, we're using these sweet Amonkhet basic lands. Amonkhet was a very fun set. I enjoyed it a lot. I hope they bring back drafts of it to Arena. It would be really cool if they brought back like Hour of Devastation drafts to MTGO, because that was the first set I played on MTGO. And that was a great draw. Our game plan immediately went from like, oh, maybe we can be a tempo aggro deck, to let's just make sure we're not too far behind when we get this Ashiok into play. We're just going to kill that now. We'd rather use our Mogus' Favor than our Devourer of Memory there. We definitely play this Soul Reaper of Mogus. One thing is we're more choked on black mana than blue mana, so if we end up in a spot where we need to double spell, oh, we're not blocking. Say we draw 2 more islands in a row, we'd rather be able to go like 2 Devourer Memories. Okay, so we're in a pretty good spot here. This card can trade for Arena Trickster if they choose to attack. Otherwise, it can trade there. If we do draw a land, we are in great shape. Slamming Ashiok here. Getting rid of the potential menace threat. Ashiok just said, "Dream of me." And opponent has scooped it up. We did a pretty good job stabilizing that game, though there wasn't really a lot opponent could do. I'll see you in the next round. To round 2. I think this is a keep with the Illyrios. Facing down blue-red again. That was a good draw. Needed that swamp. Yep, I agree. Kill 0. Turn 5 Ashiok was GG. So trying to play the blue-red Spells Matter deck, it looks like. We're actually pretty well set up to deal with that. We just have nice little board position here. Arena Trickster. I think we'll just hold up our counter spell. Okay, Ashiok and land are both good, so we'll put the land first and then the Ashiok. I'm actually just going to kind of spew some cards here, because we know we're jamming Ashiok this next turn, so I think we're going to Ichthyomorphosis the Arena Trickster here. No attacks. And then we'll Stern Dismissal if they play any other big creature, and then we can just jam Ashiok and plus. Sure. Like, that card isn't even that scary for us, but we're just still just going to do this because we have such overwhelming advantage from the Ashiok. Ashiok says such, like, terrifying things. All your fears are given form.
The shadows awaken.
Gonna keep blessing. Not attacking, we don't need to. Ashiok is really good, Sergejo, I agree. Now when we use the -7, we can cast that. Gravebreaker Lamia is great, so we'll play it pre-combat so we can attack with Devourer of Memory. Thank you so much, Richard F., for the follow. I appreciate it. We're actually going to go get Mogus's Favor. Because Mogus's Favor can just start shooting down lionfishes.
The shadows awaken.
It's crazy because if they escape it, then we get even more value. And opponent has seen enough. We played that very safe, very conservative, but we got the win. I'll see you in the next round. Welcome to the third round. We're going to keep this hand. We have the classic Naiad plus Memory Drain combo. We will need to find another island, though. Probably going to start with Illyrios. I'm immediately afraid of Dream Trawler when I see this combo. Not really a combo, but like... So essentially Stern Dismissal traded for my 3-2, but it unlocked my 2-3, so it's not like that bad for me. We're just going to keep playing our more expensive spells. We're going to play Devourer. If they want to counter it, that's okay with us. And now we have like a nice little thing we can activate to start digging towards our Farrakha spawns, our Mogus' favors. We don't want to just run our Witness of Tomorrows into a pretty obvious counter spell. Now we can deploy our own Witness. If they Dream Trawler me, they Dream Trawler me. Perfect. We have our little graveyard filler plus our graveyard recursion. Nice. Another land is a great addition to the lineup. Now we can mill twice on their end step. They get to scry. But we're pretty safe. We have a counter spell up for if they have anything too scary. And our Farrakha spawn will eventually be quite good. Sure. They did scry to the top. Oh, that's what they scried to the top? Sure. Oh, this works out perfectly for us. Because now they can't even recast the Witness. And we have counterspell to protect. Now is a great time to get Farrakha spawn into play. We have the Sea God Scorn to protect from any like massive tempo plays. They only have one unknown card in hand. It would be rough if that had been a counter, but then we could just kind of recover with our Sea God Scorn the next turn. They're going to sack their Dawn Evangel, which opens up a lot of attacks for us. And we'll attack with everything. We'll let them trade these off if they want. Lou gets through for some damage on the ground. It's too early here. Yeah, I know. Maze of Death, it's hard. Time zone switches are rough. if we bounce everything, we're not getting a ton of value, but their cards are all relatively expensive. So, like, bouncing 2 Witnesses of Tomorrows makes it so that they can't really come back. Because we bounce all 3 of their creatures. Okay, Staggering Insight, sure. Yeah, this is going to be disgusting for us again. So they hit us, but then we bounce all 3 of their creatures. 1, 2, 3. Hit them for a lot. Like, if they replay this card, it just means we have the game locked up. Unless they have a Karametra's Blessing. Which they do not have. You can't play around everything. So I have enough to play this and hold up counter magic. Or I can activate this and play this. I have 9 mana. So I can activate this, attack with these 2. They'll have to chump. I think it's correct to start activating this. If they are able to block there, they'll take an extra 2. That doesn't really help out that much. They already have to jump here, I think. Because I can threaten the double pump. Oh no, that would only put them to 1, so they don't have to. So I guess attacking with these would have forced them to jump there. So I could have traded 2 3s, but they would be at a higher life total. I think it's more valuable to me to hold up the counterspell than to play my own Watcher. I mean, own Witness. Oh, yeah. It is a pretty sweet combo. Final Death is definitely a great card, though. Holding a Memory Drain just leaves me very safe. Because they have to kill this. Oh. We'll let that enter. Because it doesn't gain life on its own. And then if they try to play Witness of Tomorrows, they just die. Because I can double pump my Devourer of Memory. We can counter this one and win the game. Both of those are good. And that is game. That's why we played our Memory Drain instead of the Witness. We held it up instead of playing Witness because it was more important to have an answer to what they might have. Got the win, and I'll see you in the next round. Welcome to round 4. This is actually a very interesting hand. We do not have an island. We have only swamps and 1 black card on the draw. I think we have to make sure we have more consistent mana on the draw. If we whiff on island, we get too far behind, so I think we're going to mulligan. This hand, however, is quite good. We're going to keep it, and we're going to ditch 1 of our swamps. Keeping all of our spells. Yeah. We'll cast this on end step just so we have more information about what we might want. So pretty much all of the commons in black are just super powerful. We scried both lands to the bottom, we just don't want them. Black just has access to like fantastic commons. The only commons that aren't great are like the 2 mana 2/2, and even that one's playable. The 2 mana 2/1 that dies into stuff isn't great, but Black just has fantastic commons. And it has great uncommons as well. Sure. We will actually keep 1 land on top here. Don't really want the Mogus's Favor. Don't really want the Stern Dismissal either. We're actually just going to play our Death Touch creature. And if it dies, we can Omen of the Dead it back. I'm glad we waited on our Mire's Grasp. That is a little rough. But our 2/2/2/1 Death Touch still does a great job holding down the fort. At the time, scrying away those lands seemed good, but it's seeming less good now. If we can land the Gravebreaker Lamia into Farrakha Spawn, though, this matchup is still very under control. Lamia itself would just be a very good card to get on this board. Okay. Sirkovitz, welcome to the stream. Nice to see you, man. Okay, this is bad. Okay. Killing the Caliphate would have worked out better. I'll just straight up say it. But honestly, this just all went off the rails when they hit us for 14 with their sick combo. And they have the Citizen training, so we can't really... Okay. So if they are out of gas, which is doubtful, let's just get a Farrakha Spawn. Yep, and we're dead. Yeah, that was a really tough draw to beat. I think the only chance we had was Myers grasping the Caliphate, and I think they might have had. I think they had protection up for the Caliphate even. So, yeah, that one was going to be impossible to win. 5. We're going to keep this hand. We got some stuff going on. Nice. We keep drawing our only 2-drop of merit. I think we have him. We have Mire Triton. Normally I'd play the Vexing Goal here, but now we get to get through for a little bit of damage. Daxos. We'll just get the 2/2 into the air, chipping away. Thank you so much, A Literal God, for the feedback. I appreciate it. I think Gravebreaker Lamia is an interesting one because we already have a spawn in the graveyard, so I don't think it's as valuable. So I think we're just going to start... It does fill our graveyard a little bit. I think we're just going to play the Witness, though, because we can hit them. The only other card we could get is a Mogus's favor, but that seems better to do when we can do it all in one fell swoop, potentially. Elspeth Conquers Death, eh? That's bad. They don't have a graveyard right now, though, so not as worrisome. Now we'll play the Lamia. We could get a Mogus's favor. We could get our second Farrakha spawn. I think we'll just put the Mogus's favor into the graveyard. Yikes. So they can sacrifice Daxus and then get it back. I think we're just going to Omen of the Sea here once this thing fades away. So the Elspeth Conquers Death was good, but not game-breakingly good. Thanks for the kind words, a literal god. I appreciate it. And for the follow. Okay. We're in pretty good shape here. We can end step Omen of the Sea, we can Stern Dismissal something if it's a problem, and then we can jam the Ashiok. Oh, if they had Flicker of Fate, that would have been quite poor for us. Sure. We don't need a second Farrakha spawn. And then we will bounce the Soul Reaper. They can sack it to itself if they want. Sure. That works out fine for me. I pretty much just didn't want them to have sacrifice mana up. So I can just jam Farrakha spawn now. Which I think I'll do. It does mean getting rid of my Mogus's favor, but that's okay. If I do that, they'll have to sacrifice one of their creatures, and then I can have a very good setup for my Sea God Scorn the following turn. I could also just jam Ashiok. That sounds actually better. Because then Sea God Scorn is just unbeatable. But they can attack. They have okay attacks. Let's just play Ashiok. Yeah, playing Ashiok is definitely correct. No attack. With Sea God Scorn as a follow-up, it just becomes so much better. Sure. Whew. Yikes. For a second I was worried they could get back Elspeth Conquers Death and get rid of Ashiok. We'll keep his loyalty high. We don't mind losing it. We actually kind of do mind losing loyalty. We'll just block like that.
Fear your failure.
Hmm. They're just miles behind now.
The shadows awaken.
Just like so far behind on tempo. Really in a bad spot. Now we can bounce something with Ashiok, then Farrakis spawn. Without having to get rid of our Fimogus' favor. They still have to exile a card from their hand even if they don't bounce it. At this point we can probably just Myers Grasp and hold up Memory Drain, but playing Farrakis spawn is just really powerful, so I think we're just gonna do that. Keep a creature in there because we do have Omen of the Dead. They have their own Gravebreaker Lamia. Interesting. The Axos is back. Do they have another Rise to Glory? Yep, that's actually pretty good. They're still dead on board, but it was a good effort. Boom. Yeah, playing the Ashiok on that one turn was like definitely correct by a long shot. Got the win, and I'll see you in the next round. Welcome. We are keeping this amazing hand. Devourer of Memory, just as like a 2-drop, has just been like really good. Like we might just want Temple Thief. Oh, hello Ashiok. Hello opponent. Sometimes you have a Mythic in your deck and you never draw it, but we have been fortunate enough to draw Ashiok many times. Attacking first means they can't block. And now we have the powerful thing of being able to hold up Vexing Goal or Memory Drain next turn if we draw a land. Which really is quite good. Underworld Ragehound doesn't scare me. Okay, so they're killing Devourer. That's actually fine for me. Okay, so land was the perfect draw. We'll trade these off pretty happily. Because the board's going to be very empty. We're going to get our 2-3. It's basically a 3-2 that dies into a 2-3 is a way you can think about it. And then they either play something worth countering, which we'll probably do just so we can play Ashiok on curve and just win. Like, this is so punishing. We did not hit the land. We're actually going to play the Liar and just tap down their Caryatid. So I probably could have attacked them. I almost definitely could have attacked them. Which would have definitely been correct. I just didn't think I thought I was going to hold up my counterspell, and then I had some decision paralysis on that decision. sure. Oh my gosh, this is wrong. This is so wrong. We already didn't really care about this because we had Final Death to draw into eventually. Even if they have haste, creature will just block it. Like if they have +1/+0. So we'll just go for the triple block. They'll spend some mana. We can always Final Death it if things look like they're going to go south. I now have just an endless army of 2/3, so their guys become a lot less scary. And we have a counter spell, so.
Creeping, thieving progeny.
We don't have to play Witness, we can just hold up Memory Drain. I do not know that Supernova. I'd be interested to see them as well. Sure. Yeah, sure, dude. Yeah, I don't really care about that. Opponent has seen the writing on the wall. Their worst nightmares came true. Couldn't resist. I'll see you in the next round. 5-1 right now, and we're looking to keep rolling. We have our 2-drop. The All-Star. The man, the myth, the legend. Ashiok was pack 1, pick 1. Veil Drago. Good thing we need to just hit lands with this hand. We have the Gravebreaker, Lamia. We don't even need Ashiok this game, I don't think. We're gonna... That's okay for us. It fills our graveyard for our eventual escape stuff. And now we get to have our Lyrios come into play. We'll look for a land. Do not need to use our Mire's Grasp right now. So this will become a 3/3 then. That was some bad math. Yikes, that was bad math. Why did I... 0/1 plus 3/3 is not... is not the number that I said it was. Dang, that was horrific math, actually. No, now they can play Iroas' Blessing. Nightmare confirmed. Sure, that's actually okay for me. I was like, where are the triggers? They had to order them, I guess. I wonder which one's like technically correct to put first. I'd usually put the Wanderer trigger first, to like maybe get more information about what's left in my deck. But I really don't know. Like if you really need a land, it's definitely correct to draw first, because you want to maximize your odds of seeing a land, so you take an extra card, I think. Any tendencies? They don't take Liar very highly. Yeah, we're not really afraid of a combat trick here. Red-green's really bad against Farrakhan spawn, generally, because they tend to have a lot of big guys. Okay, so the Ichthyoamorphosis play has worked out. Gonna get Lamia into play. So we can put Mogis' Favor into the graveyard. We don't need a second Farrakhan spawn there. We could also put a land there. So next turn I'm going to be escaping it almost guaranteed. So let's just put an island into the graveyard. Actually put a swamp. Because Mogis' Favor into the graveyard would be nice, but since we're going to be escaping and exiling 3 cards anyway, it really isn't as good for us. Should have definitely attacked first. Interesting. We're just going to Myers Grasp this thing, because we know they're a little bit light on lands, and also Farrakhan spawn gets better if they just sacrifice a big creature. Well, this is going to work out for us. And if we draw a land, we can even like bounce a smaller creature they might play. Yeah. So like this just works out on a lot of levels. We'll triple block if they attack. So yeah, like here now we get to go like this. We get to bounce this guy. What do you got? Okay. This is not a Gorgon, so it must go. We gain 4 life. They are dead to Farrakha spawn, or any combination of our creatures, pretty much. Heroes of the Revel. Yeah, that's okay. It does keep them alive. So we can attack with everything. They have to block. They go block here, and they're dead. I'm pretty sure, at least, this works. And if it doesn't work out perfectly, we can always use Soul Reaper to sack some stuff. Boom, got the W, and we're headed to the final round. I'll see you folks there. What is hopefully the final round. We will keep this hand. It's not as powerful as some of our other ones, but we do have some nice tools for digging. In the Omen of the Sea, a Farrakha spawn is a really good card in a lot of matchups. Turn 2 Pious Wayfarer, not as scary. How do I rate my draft deck? 10 out of 10? I don't know. Probably not a straight 10 out of 10 because it could use a couple more Mire Tritons, but like it's hard to rate decks. I mean, it's really doing quite well. We don't need a second Farrakha spawn, we do not need a swamp. That was such a good find. Because like every time we scry a card to the bottom, like if it's not an essential card, scrying cards to the bottom gets us closer to Ashiok. Okay. Just gonna play our creatures. We're still at a high life total, so we don't need a Mire's Grasp this. Yeah. Glad we have this Stern Dismissal, eh? Trading 1 for 3 is still really bad here, so. Just gonna do this. It makes it way harder for them to do stuff like surprising, and it also gets us that last card we need in the graveyard. So we have 3 cards in the graveyard for if they do kill Farrakha spawn. I think we're just going to chump with Farrakha spawn, then bring it back as a 5/6. Sure. And if they don't make us counter anything, we can just sack our Omen of the Sea to scry a little bit. Well, that was easy. So if they have Karametra's Blessing, we get really wrecked. Still think it's worth going for this, though. Yep. Because we were planning on jumping with this anyway. Okay, now we just lose. Oh my gosh. Shoot! Oh my gosh, I really messed that up. I was like, they have to have Karametra's Blessing and something for me to get wrecked by this, and then they did, so we lost. Yeah, we pretty much just lose now. It doesn't matter what we exile. It actually kind of does. Gosh. Yeah, if we had plus Ashiok, that wouldn't have happened. I really considered it. Like, heavily considered it. We haven't literally lost. Sea God Scorn would still be great here. It would get us back in the game. But yeah, we lost. Yeah, so basically what I needed to do there was plus Ashiok, because then if they have Karametra's Blessing, it doesn't do anything. Because I'm just planning on chumping the 6/7 into Oblivion. And then I can chump it with my 3/4, bounce their token on the following turn, and then bring it back my 3/4 and make them sacrifice it. Yeah, so that was just a really bad play that got punished. We are back for redemption. We're going to keep this hand with our Ashiok. Hopefully we still get a max wins run with this deck, because so yeah, the last game was just a bit rough. They are using their kitten. It hissed at me. It hissed at me. Opponent's on a mulligan to 5 already, so we should be in good shape. Ashiok bounce is even better when they're on a mulligan. We have 8 swamps in the deck. Decent amount of time to find them. Ichthyoamorphosis to buy us time. I'm just still thinking about that last game. If I had played it slightly differently, I think we could have won. I just need to plus the Ashiok. I really thought about it too. I feel a little bit disappointed. Thank you so much, Gilles0 for the follow. I appreciate it. We're just doing this first because if we hit a swamp, we can Mogus's favor this. Okay. No swamp yet. Just gonna lower the power a bit. Booyah.
The regrets of the dead.
And now we just make a 2/3 every turn for the rest of the game and win. It's cool because if they scribe both to the top, yeah, we can exile one of them.
The shadows awaken.
And now we can scry or final death. Like if they have Archon of Sun's Grace, then that's like one of the few ways they could get back into it. Dream Trawler if they keep hitting lands. Sure. Shimmerwing will just Myers Grasp that. Currently we're looking for... we're just kind of looking for our counterspell. We don't want either of those. Though this guy does give us extra scries at it, so maybe we do want him. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we can play him next turn alongside of Myers Grasp to just get our clock a lot faster and give us some scries to find our our answers.
Are delightfully friendly.
Because Witness can start scrying us towards our counterspell. Archon of Sun's Grace, nice. We're just going to bounce it.
I will haunt you. You will feel inspired.
Next turn we just have lethal with our Witness. Boom! Got the victory, and we are at max wins in this league. Our deck was fantastic. We had that slight error that got punished. I think the play that I made that was bad was like a sideways, it was like a tier down. It wasn't like a, oh, this was such a garbage play. It was more like a, there was a better line I could have taken. But yeah, we did get it all the way till max wins. I do hope you enjoyed this draft video. If you did, remember to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and in the comment section down below, leave any questions, of course. And if you would like to let me know you made it all the way to the end, a hashtag Ashiok domination, because we did do pretty dominating performances. So hashtag Ashiok domination in the comment section down below, and any questions, of course. If you would like to catch me streaming live, you can find me on twitch.tv/NicolaiBolas, and if you would like to join our Discord server, you can find that at Discord, a link in the description and in a pinned comment. So that's going to do it for this draft. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you next time.